Yes, my name is Luca, and I am the partner manager in 23, primarily working in Norway, Sweden and Denmark, but also around the world. And this is Ditte, my boss, and CEO of 23. And yeah, we also just want to say thank you for allowing us to come here. And Smilena, we are going to talk a little bit about 23 as a company, then we're going to talk a little bit about what we do, and then we're going to ask you a question, and then we're going to hang out so you can actually get to talk to us instead. So we'll try to get through some stuff now, but it's maybe afterwards that the interesting stuff gets going, so please grab us if you feel that you are curious. So 23, the visual sharing company, believes in the visual sharing. We believe in what is visual, and we believe that video, photos, and whatever that can communicate visually is important and interesting. And didn't you? And what we spend 99% of our time on is a product called 23 Video. So 23 Video is a cloud CMS. It's a full-featured cloud CMS that is built for video, and that means that it is just as another CMS system, but also as a what could you say, sharing platform or video platform, but combined. So that means that it's everything that you need to work with online video as a company or as an organization. What we kind of come from is that we're super tired of this shit. This is, yeah, I hate that stuff. And I hate stuff looking like this as well. I want to go, or we want to go to a place where video is one of the key points in communicating, and is one of the key points in how companies, organizations, national teams, sports centers, whatever, communicate what they are, what they want to do, and where they want to go. So we want to go from this, and then we want to go to this. So we want to go to full-featured video sites where the video is the center of everything. Video is the way that they communicate, that's the way that they reinvent their business, that's the way that they kind of push whatever they want to push and tell whatever they want to tell. So that is what we work towards, and that is also what we've been successful with doing so far. So just to give you one small case, we won't go too much into detail. So you know Roskilde Festival? It's this festival, people getting drunk 7 days a year, 130,000 attendees, it's amazing. I've been there 7-8 times. They were really struggling, or they had a hard time with kind of prolonging the festival throughout the year. So it's the coolest thing in Scandinavia, 7 days a year, but what about the rest of the time? So what they did is they built a video site, and they built a video channel, and they actually made an online festival 365 days a year instead. And just to give you some numbers which kind of puts it into perspective, so Roskilde Festival has 130,000 visitors or attendees throughout the 7 days. They had 130,000 visitors on their video site the first month. And then there's 11 more months to kind of generate clicks, to show tickets, to show sponsors, to show cool content and whatever. So it's just to put a little bit into perspective of what you can actually do with video and how you can reinvent what you do and not just put a random video site somewhere on your site. So yeah, this is actually one thing we want to say today, that we want to invite you to reinvent everything with video. Not necessarily with us, but think visually in what you do and how you communicate, whether that is an application, or whether that is a company, or whether that is a homepage or whatever. How can you do that visually so it kind of gets to people in another way? Yeah?
Yeah. So, I don't know if this is on. I need to speak in this right? Two mics. Okay, so a bit about where we are today and what this kind of urge to create this product has led us to. I like to think about 23 as one of the really well-kept startup secrets, success stories of Copenhagen. We're actually, we've bootstrapped our way to 300 video websites in 19 countries within the last 4 years since we launched 23 Video. So that's without this big monetary investor in the back. That's actually ensured that we could do stuff the way we really, really wanted to do it without compromising. And we're now in 3 countries, as Luca mentions. We have offices in Stockholm and Oslo and headquarters here in Copenhagen. We are 20 people today, and we have around 110 partners involved in bringing this product out there every day. And the interesting thing about 23, about where we are right now, is that we're looking to scale even more. We're looking to scale also on a global level, and that's a pretty scary thing to do, and a super, super exciting thing to do. So one of the things that we're looking into a lot right now is, do we have the right foundation for doing that? And one thing we want to mention, and one thing where I think we as startup community also need to learn from each other and look at, I always look at the startups that are more ahead, and I also look at the ones that are more early than us to see how can we learn from each other. Where we're at right now is that super interesting point where we're actually gone from having a good idea to building a good company. And I love hearing the startup ideas, and I love talking to the guys around in the cellars or in the garages or wherever you create. And some of you are probably in the phase of creating something pretty amazing. And I think something I always look a lot to, and that's because I'm a CEO and that's my job, is to see how is that going to survive in the real world, how is that going to be a company. So there's one thing, is thinking business, and that's something we've spent a lot of time on in 23. Believe me, the founders started this project 10 years ago, before it even turned into video, before people even thought about online video as something. So we've spent time and time and time thinking about what's the right business model. But there's something that you need to think about at the same time, is what's the right company? What's the right company culture? And that's something we're really, really deeply engaged in 23, I believe. And some of the things that we know we have, yes, and that we're really, really looking into at the moment, because we are going to scale, we are going to bring people on, is how do we keep some of this stuff intact while we grow. And it's really, the reason why I want to keep this intact is not because I'm a romantic, but it's because I know that's what brought us to where we are today. No questions asked. That's why 23 has become a success. What we've been super good at is, I think there's something here around ownership. And it's something that you'll, if you're an entrepreneur yourself, often you don't want to give away the entrepreneurial role in the company. So you want to be the entrepreneur, maybe together with your co-founders, and then you want to hire people around you that can sort of run operations on a daily level, but you want to keep kind of the monopoly on the innovation, on the ideas, on the drive. What the co-founders of 23 have been really, really good at is letting go of that. So they've hired entrepreneurs around them, for most part at least. You also need people who are into operations, but you also need people who can equally take upon the journey of scaling a company, just as excited and just with as much passion as you do as the co-founder or original entrepreneur. And that's something that we really try to look into on a daily basis, is how do we keep that entrepreneurial mindset intact. One way of doing it is to take talent development dead serious. The story of almost everyone in 23 today is that they started out in a different position. And that may be because we're super bad at recruiting and finding the right fit for people. I like to believe that it's because we're really good at getting smarter once we get to know people. We're really good at seeing the matches between company needs and talent development. So Luca started as our talent scout because we had a need at that point. As that need actually started to drizzle a bit, we looked into what could actually be the match between what Luca is super good at and where we want to go with the company. About 27, I believe. That's super young, and that means we hold a super high responsibility for the people we bring in actually coming out smarter and in another place, if they ever choose to leave. I hope they won't. But at least if they do that someday, I want them to say to the world that 23 is where I really developed. That was my school. And that's something that takes a lot of hard work. That's also the mindset of how we like to scale the company. So how do you go from being 2 guys with a good idea to being maybe in 1 year's time 40 people on a global scale? And we work, so I like to think as the core team, that means me and the co-founders and other management functions, as the incubator. I like to think as our employees as people who come to us with a good idea on where to bring something, with a good idea of like a mission for the company. So right now Luca is coming to us saying like, I really want to bring our way of working with partners from where it is now, where it sort of wasn't really as we wanted it, and I want to bring it here. And I like to think of us being the ones who sit down and review that. Is that possible? Can we give Luca the resources to do that? And if we can, then we give him the torch and we say, run off and come back and tell us how it went in 3 months, and then we'll look at it again. That's a dream scenario that you can do that every day, but there's something in actually wanting to keep that mindset that's really interesting. And the last thing I really want to say, and this is where this all sounds really nice and we're good people and we're fun to work with and everything, is that we want people to work hard and play hard, but work hard. And there's one thing that I want to kind of want you to ask yourself. You can change.
Cute.
No, not that cute. We've got different cues running on. I thought it was the time.
No, you have time, don't worry.
Ah, cool. So I think because Luca started as talent scout, we probably among the two of us had about 50 interviews with people. That's a lot. And we haven't hired 50 people. And part of it because, and now I'm getting a bit strict, and I hope that you don't take it personal, or if you do, I hope you'll get smarter from it. But we have had our share of people who are like these little club of Lego men who all want to work for startup, because it's just super exciting. And it is exciting, and it's something I take huge pride in, is that startup environments are attractive workplaces. I love that, and we should be, and we have an obligation to be, because we can do everything right from the beginning in terms of creating amazing work-life balance and workspaces. So yes, there's a lot of reasons why you want to work for a startup, but we have met people that have not thought that through. And it's a bit strict, but I have met people where startup equals foosball table. Simplified. But I hope you get what I'm saying. Or I have met people that, you know, completely I fell in love with them in the interview because we talked about how amazing it was to work for a startup and all the freedom. And then they came in with like demands on salaries and work conditions that were for a corporate culture where we're not there yet. And it's just to say that it's amazing to work for a startup, but it's also damn hard work. And it also comes with a big responsibility that is sometimes not that fun. And where it's actually sometimes nice to have a job where you go there, you work, and then you go home. But at 23, you go there, you work, and if it didn't work out, you probably go home and still think about it. And that can give a lot of value, but it's also really, really hard work. So it's kind of our little wish from, I think, having been in those situations, is to say, think really, really hard for yourself. Why is it you want to work in a startup if that's what you want to do? And ask people you know who work in startups, what's it like? I mean, when is it not cool? I mean, Luca will tell you that it's not cool when you can't get clear directions on anything, because everything is developing and nothing is set, and there's never a box for anything, right? And I would say, go build your own box. I don't know. What do you think, right? That's sometimes super frustrating, and you'll be like, ah, come on, just give me something to relate to. And it makes it fun. It means you can have a lot of influence on stuff, but it also makes it really tough.
Yeah, I just.
Do you want to be the more happy note?
No, I'll just. I can take that one, but it's a little bit right.
So I think, yeah, I completely agree. But I also think that it's like startup is a thing that you need to experience, right? So it's not watching the Facebook movie and then realizing like, oh, that's amazing, that's going to be me next time. It's also about saying, okay, so I'll do those 2, 3, 4, 5 months where I'm not getting that much money, or I'm not having my dream role of whatever it is, but I'm really kind of getting in there and kind of feeling that vibe, because there is a vibe. But I think it's really much a thing that you need to experience and really kind of get under the skin. And that you don't have to read From Good to Great or What Would Google Do or whatever all those books are called. Like, get out there and kind of feel the vibe and see if it's something for you. I think that's maybe also but good advice. And then the video.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just want to finish off with showing a small video, because maybe you want to go out and feel the vibe, and maybe you want to work with a strict boss, but with open frames. So let's see.
And then we do have the Facebook video for that. And I know we'll have time for questions and hanging out afterwards. I'd love to get to talk to more of you.
Is it, yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah, so this is our team. So that's everything from us.
That's it for us.